Hi students, my name is Pallabi and welcome to our channel Parallax. So today we will be solving the 0580 mathematics paper, which is the extended mathematics paper, and we will be solving the May-June 2019 4-1, paper number 4-1. The time for this paper is 2 hours 30 minutes. So I thought that the video will be too long for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this paper into 4 videos. The first video will be for the first 3 questions and remaining 3 questions will come in the upcoming videos, right? Remaining number of questions. So every video will have roughly 3 to 4 questions, right? Okay, so let's begin. Now, before we begin, all of you already know this. You are allowed to use a dark blue or a black pen. And of course, calculators are allowed. Let's move on. So we come to the first question. Now see, I will be delving deep into the concepts here because I see that if you look at the first question, it's like a culmination of vectors. That is, whatever you know about vectors and transformations is all given in this particular question. So I will go a little bit deeper into the concept as well so that you understand the vector concept properly. And if any other question comes your way, you would be able to do that, right? So moving on, we have the first question which says translate. So this is a shape which is given and you are required to translate the shape by a vector -1, 6. So first, let's name the points which we have on this shape. So I'm going to just zoom in a little bit. So this becomes easier, isn't it? So remember, whenever we are naming any point on a shape, then we first put the x coordinate. So this is the x-axis, and on the vertical, we have the y-axis. So the x coordinate over here is 2, y coordinate is 1. So this point becomes 2, 1. Similarly, this point becomes 5, 1. This point becomes 5, 3, and this one becomes 4, 3. So over here, the y is same, the x has changed across these 2 points. Okay, moving on. Now I'll go back to the question. So we have over here, the question is given as, translate the shape t by a vector -1 and 6. So I'm going to keep this screen as it is like this so that our translations become very simple and we are able to view the question as well as what I'm doing on the screen as well, right? So we have to first translate it. Now, what do we mean by this vector when we write -1 and 6? What is the meaning of this? That means you are going in the x direction. The first point, this is a column vector represented like this. Column vectors are represented like this, x and y. You see this? Okay. So remember, I will be using a different ink for explanation purpose, and the part which you have to write in the question paper, I will be using the blue or black ink for that. So let's talk about column vectors. We have an x and y over here, right, which is given as -1 and 6. And you have to translate this shape. So it will translate -1 towards x and 6 points in the y. -1 towards x means each of these points which you see will go -1 on the left. That means this point will come over here, this point will come over here, this point will come over here, and this point will come over here, right? Had it been only -1, then this we would have made a shape over here and that would have been a shape. But it's not that. So what we do is we move 6 points up. So it's +6. So each of these points will move 6 points upwards. So let's see what will become of this 2, 1. It will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You reach 7. Another way of doing this is you have 1 over here. So you add a 6 to it. So you reach 7. Similarly, over here you have 3. You add 6 to it. So you reach 9. So this is the new point. Then you have 3 over here as well. Again, this will be 9. And the last one is 1 over here. So this will again be 6. So this is what becomes of our new vector. So the new shape or the new translation. So this, I will mark the vector now, mark the figure now. So this is our figure. You join these 4 points. And this is what we get as our complete figure.
right? Okay, we will also write down the new points which we had. So remember, we always write the x first. So it is 1, 7, x and y. Over here, it is 3, 9. This point is 4, again 9 because it's on the same y line. And this will be 4, 7, right? This is what happens of the first. So this becomes our image A. So this is our image A. This is how we write A. Now what do we need to do? We have to rotate the shape T about the point 5,3. So where is the point 5,3? Over here we have 5,3. We have to rotate the shape T through 180 degrees. Now how do we do that? And how do we know for sure that 180 degrees rotation is happening? Remember, 180 is a straight line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a different ink again just to show to you how these rotations work, right? Then I will be removing this because in the actual paper, you're not supposed to show these. So what happens is now if this point has to be rotated 180 degrees, where will it lie? Where will it come? That is what we have to find, right? So it's about 5,3. The point which we have to rotate this whole figure is around 0.53. So 5,3 will remain where it is, right? Then what happens to this point, which is 4,3? 4,3 will come on this side. Okay, what will happen to 5,1? 5,1 will go up, right? 2 places up. So from this, it was 2 places down. So if you have to reflect it, it will be 2 places up. Similarly, now how do we find out this point? So what we do is we take a scale and we make a line like this. So, and let's make a proper line because if we do not do that, then our answer will be completely wrong. So we take a line like this and we extend it to the same measurement backwards, right? Like this. So how many squares it's covering? 1, 2, 3 roughly. It should cover 1, 2, 3 squares over here as well. And now we join our points. So now we will join these points. So we have this, we have this, 3 places over here, and this. So this becomes our new shape. This red line, you may keep it or you may remove it. That's fine if you remove it as well. So this becomes our new shape and this has to be labeled as B. So this is our question number 2, right? Part 2. Now we have to describe fully the single transformation that maps shape A into shape B. That is, how is shape A translated into shape B? How do we use the transformations to do that? So what do? We look at each of these points. So look at this point 4, 7. What happened to it? And look at the point 4, 9 as well. We have to observe these 2 points, what happened. So clearly you can see there is a 180 degree rotation because this 4, 7 has come over here and the 4, 9 has come down. This 3, 9 has come on this side and this one has come on this side. So clearly we know that there is a 180 degree rotation there. But across which point? We have to identify that point. So how do we do that? Make a line across. Again, I will use a different ink. So to show the actual line, you can just make any 2 lines. But however, I will be showing all the 4 lines. So this is mapped into this. This becomes this point. Then we have this point, which has become this point. And you have the 4th one, which is this, right? So roughly, as you see, this is how the mapping has taken place, right? You can show all the 4 lines if you want to, but not required. Any 2 lines will also work. So this point is around which the rotation has happened. So what is this point? It is 4.5 and 6. If you see clearly the x-axis, it's 4.5 and 6 is the y-axis, right? So that is what we have as the point. And you can just write down over here that, so how do you describe fully the rotation? So you will write that, let's write that down. So It is a 180-degree rotation around the point 4.56. That is how you have to show. This is a 180-degree rotation around this point 4.5 and 6, and you have to name this point as well. It is 4.56, right? So I'm going to remove the excess lines which I have made so that it becomes, the clarity remains. Any two lines will also do, right? Okay. Moving on, reflect the shape T in the line y is equal to x. That means we have to make a line y is equal to x first, right? So let's do that. Y is equal to x means we are make a line which will pass through 0 and all the x coordinates will be equal to the y coordinates. This is how it would look like. Okay, this is our line y is equal to x. Let's write that down as well. So this is y is equal to x. Now we have to reflect this shape T across this line. Now, how do we do that? This is where the question starts becoming tough, or many students, they find this part tricky. Now, how do we do that? So look at each of these points and look at the perpendicular distance from this line y is equal to x. What I mean by that is, now if you take this point, this is how it is perpendicularly related to this line, right? So this is where it should go. Similarly, this point should go over here, right? This point should go over here. And this point, how many boxes is it covering? 2 boxes. So 2 boxes on this side as well. So we already got our 4 points. You see where these 4 red lines meet? That is where you have to draw the figure. So you just have to join these. That means this is how the transformation will look like. Now the black lines indicate the transformation. So, or the reflection. So I'm going to, this is how it looks like. And this is where I join this. And this is my 4th point. Clear? Understood how we reflected this and how the reflection has to happen? So now I can erase these red lines because this was just for your understanding. You don't require to draw these on paper. So this is how our shape comes out to be. And we can name this C if you want to. Now what do we need to do? The next step, again, very important. Find the matrix that represents the transformation in part B, first part. That is, we have reflected the shape T across line y is equal to x. We have to find the matrix. Now, how do we do that? Now, for this, you have to remember the transformation matrices. So, for y is equal to x, the transformation matrix is 0, 1, 1, 0. Now, we will go a little bit deeper into the concept that why this matrix 0, 1, 1, 0 is called the transformation matrix for this line y is equal to x. So your answer will essentially be 0, 1, 1, 0, but I'm going to illustrate how this works and why it is true. So what I'm going to do is, we will quickly draw an x and a y axis. So I'm going to draw a y and an x axis quickly. Let me just make it over here. We have some empty space over here, so we'll make use of that. And again, I will use my red ink so that you don't get confused. This is not related to what you have to write on the paper, right? Okay. Now on this, we will draw our y is equal to x line first. So this is my y is equal to x line. Again, I will mark the 4 points. So this is my 1, 0. This becomes I'll just make a square. So this is how the square looks like. Okay. And I have the points 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, and 0, 1. Right? Now we are going to reflect this, and this across this line y is equal to x and see if this is the matrix used to do that or not. So what we are going to do is, we are going to take the first point, 0, 0, right? You know that as a column vector, if you have to write, you have to put the x coordinate first and the y coordinate below it, right? So this becomes 0, 0. Transformation matrix is 0, 1, 1, 0. So how do we multiply this? This becomes 0 times 0 plus 0 times 1, which is 0. And 0 times 1 plus 0 times 0, which is 0 again. That means 0, 0 will stay where it is already. So it will stay on the line y is equal to x. Clearly, by the same logic, 1, 1 should also stay on the line y is equal to x. Let's check it still. So you have 1, 1, and we are using the transformation matrix to check whether this is, so 1 into 0 plus 1 into 1 is 1. 1 into 1 plus 1 into 0 is 1 again. So we see that 1, 1 becomes or stays where it is, even after reflection, because obviously it is reflecting along the same line y is equal to x. Now we have to check for these 2 points, right? So let's check for 1, 0. So 1, 0, and you are multiplying it with the matrix, which is 0, 1, 1, 0. So 1 into 0, which is 0, plus 0 into 1, which is again 0. So 0 on top, and 1 into 1 plus 0 into 0, which is 1. So you get your 1, 0, that is this point, becomes 0, 1 after reflection, this point, right? So 1, 0 becomes 0, 1. Again, if you take 0, 1, let's see whether it turns into 1, 0 or not. Then the matrix which we have chosen is the correct matrix, right? So 0, 1, and you use the transformation matrix 0, 1, 1, 0. So 0 into 0 plus 1 into 1 is 1. And 0 into 1 plus 1 into 0 is 0. So you see that 0, 1 becomes 1, 0. So it's true that this is the transformation matrix. So what you need to write in this answer is that you have to give the value of this matrix, which is 0, 1, 1, 0. Let's do that. And we will just clear all this because now it's not required. So this becomes 0, 1, 1, 0. That's your answer. Moving on to the next question. Now, this is a table and it shows the values for y. You have to find some of the y values. This is the expression which is given, which is y is equal to x cube plus 3x square plus 2. How do we find the values of x? So what you do is, you have to substitute to find out the value of x, right? So let's try out the first one. Again, I will be using red ink to show you how it works. You need not do the same in the exam. So y is given as x cube plus 3x square plus 2, right? And we have to find the value of y over here. So x is minus 3. So what will be the value of y when x is minus 3? You plug the value of minus 3 cube plus 3 into minus 3 square plus 2. This becomes minus 27. This becomes minus 3 square will be plus 9. So this becomes plus 27. And there is a 2 here. So this gets cancelled. So y is equal to 2. That's one value. Then we have what will happen when x is equal to 0. Let's put that. Y is equal to x is 0 now. So 0 cube plus 3 into 0 square plus 2. So y comes out to be 2. Again, it is 2 over here. Then you put x as 1. So when you put x as 1, what do you get? 1 cube plus 3x, 3 into 1 square plus 2. That is 1 plus 3 plus 2, which is 6. So y comes out to be 6. So that's how all your points are mentioned over here, the y values, which is 2, 2, and 6. That is how we complete the table and we get 3 points for that. Now, we have to draw on the grid as well. So how do we do that? So this is pretty simple. You just have to mark the points. I'll show you 1 or 2 points and that's how you make the curve. So if you look at this, the first point was minus 3.5 and 4.1. So how have I done that? You have a minus 3.5, which is x is minus 3.5 and our y value is minus 4.1. So this is roughly the value of minus 4.51. So this is our first point. Similarly, minus 3 and 2. So minus 3 is again x and y is 2. Each of these boxes, so 2 of these boxes make 1. So 1 and 2. So this becomes 2, right? Then you have minus 2.5, which is 5.1. Minus 2.5 is your x. And it becomes 5.1. So 5 is over here. 0.1 will be just above this. That's where I have made it. And you have minus 2, which is 6. So what will be the 6 value? Minus 2 and 6 will be 2 boxes.
from 5. So this is where 6 will be. I hope you're understanding how I have made the graph. So like this, you keep on making all the points and then join it to form a curve. So this is a cubic functions curve. Of course, it's already given as a cubic function, and that's what you need to do here. Now use the graph to solve the equation. This equation is given and you have to find the value. So what does this mean? The equation is given equal to 0 now. That means this was the y value or the function of x, right? That becomes 0. When does the y value become 0? Let's look at the graph and find out. So y has become 0 when x value is around this, which is around 3.2, right? Now, since it's a cubic function, you can keep a range. So either you can give your answer as negative 3.2, or you can also write that the x value will be from negative 3.1 will be less than equal to x will be less than equal to negative 3.3. Both your answers are correct because we do not know, we have made a curve here. It's not a straight line. So we don't know exactly at what point the curve is touching, right? So we take a range over here. That is, it can lie with between negative 3.1 to negative 3.3. And that is where the y value is becoming 0. So what did we do over here? We took the y value as 0 because it's given. It's given as an equation, right? This whole equation expression becomes 0. That is y is 0. So what is the x value? So in the graph, we look that this is the x value for which y is 0 and we find that x value. That is what we are doing. Now, the next part. Now starts the trick part, right? So it says that you have to draw a suitable straight line. And in that straight line, you have to solve the equation x cube plus 3x square plus 2x plus 2. That means the curve is already given and there is another straight line to solve the equation. So again, I will use the red ink over here to show what exactly we are doing. So you have a line which is given as the curve which is given as x cube plus 3x square plus 2. This is already given to you, the function. And it says by drawing a suitable straight line, solve the equation. So there is another function which is now given, which is x cube plus 3x squared plus 2x plus 2, right? So we have this equal to 0. We have this equal to 0. That means these two are equal to each other, right? That is how we find the solution. That is where they are when they are intersecting. If there are two functions, if you have to find the functions intersection points, so the y points have to be the same, right? That is what we do, but we are not going over there. Over here, we just have to solve this. So what do we get? So we have, let's see what all cancels out. And this is nothing but equal to y, right? Everything is equal to y over here. Y value was 0. Remember, this was initially what we did is the function was given as y is equal to this, right? So do not forget that. Okay, moving on. Then we have y given to us. So how do we move ahead? So y, this whole thing is equal to y. Then what do? We solve for y. So what do we get? X cube get cancelled. 3x square get cancelled. 2 and 2 get cancelled. And y becomes equal to negative 2x. So this is our line which we are talking about. Let's quickly plot this line because if you plot the points of this line, so now we have got the line. Let's write that down as well. So the line which we have is y is equal to negative 2x. I'm sure you got how I got this negative 2x, right? I just took this value, equated it to the function which is already given, and from there I found the line. Now I already have the equation of line. I just have to plot the line on the graph, right? How do I do that? I'll choose random points. So let's start with that. So what I'm going to do is quickly I'll take x, y. Let's take the first value as 0 for x. So y will also be 0. I need only 2 points to make a line. So the next point, let me take it as x as 1. Then y becomes minus 2. Let me use these to find out the value, right? So if I take, now I'm plotting the points. So if I take x as 0, y is also 0. So this is my first point. If I take x as 1, y becomes minus 2. Remember, 2 of these boxes is 1, right? So 1 and 2, this is my minus 2 when x is 1. This is my point. These are my 2 points. I will join these two. So
I will use the black point, black ink to join this. So this is how I join this and I extend it. I extend it till it meets the given curve as well. Right. And let me make it a bit more clearer exactly where it is joining, whether I have to. So when you draw in your exam, it will be much easier for you because you will be using the scale to join these 2 points, right? Okay, this is what I'm getting. This is my line y is equal to 2x. Let me name that as well. So this is y is equal to minus 2x. Sorry, not 2x, but minus 2x. You can make the arrows as well because it's a line. It has 2 arrows, right, on both sides. Okay. So by drawing the suitable line, now we have to solve the equation, right? So y is equal to minus 2x. Now let's see what is the value which we are getting. So roughly you see the x value is around minus 2 point. So if you draw the line properly, you will see that it is around roughly over here. The x value lies not exactly at to minus 2.5, but minus 2.6. So that becomes your x value. So you have to solve means you have to find the value for x, right? So x becomes minus 2.5, 2.6 over here. That is the answer and you get your 2 points. So if you draw the line and then you mark the point, you get your 2 points, right? Moving on, then it says for negative 3.5 to x to 1.5, that is less than x less than 1.5. The equation is equal to k and k is an integer. This is a very important point. Write down the possible values of k. So over here, instead of y is equal to k. That means this is what it has to happen. That is y is k. What are the possible values of y is equal to k for this curve? Let's figure those out, right? What are the possible values you have for y is equal to k? And your x value has to be negative 3.5 is less than x is less than 1.5. So how do you do that? Again, what do? We take the point and okay, so over here, one important point to consider is this curve has 3 solutions. You have to understand the meaning of 3 solutions. 3 solution means this line which you take y is equal to k has to intersect this curve at 3 different points. And that k value which you take, that is the y value which you take, has to be an integer. So how do we know which all points we can take? So you have to look at the integral values, which will push the curve at 3 points or cut the curve at 3 points. So you cannot go beyond the peak of the curve because then it will not cut, obviously. So if you have to make them cut, one line is, of course, when you take the k value as 5 or y value as 5, you see 1, 2, and 3. These are the 3 points where y is equal to 5 is cutting, right? Let's check for y is equal to 4, whether that cuts as well. So if k is 4, then also it is cutting at 3 different points. Let's check for 3. So if it is 3, k is equal to 3, then also it is cutting at 3 different points. So these are the 3 different points. You cannot take 2 because then it is not cutting at 3 different points. 2 becomes this point. So you cannot take that. So these are the 3 possible values of k, which is 3, 4, or 5, where you have 3 solutions. 3 solution means where is the line intersecting this curve over here, right? The curve which is given. So that's how we mention or we write down the next point. I hope this part is clear, right? Okay, moving on to the next question. So now we have the next question which says this is a figure which is given to us and we need to find the diagram shows figure A, B, C, D, E. We have to calculate the perimeter. So the perimeter, that is 80 and 130, is not given to us. So we have to find DC and DE. So how do we do that? So if you look at the triangle BDE, so BDE is right angled at D. Do you see that? That means we can use Pythagoras theorem over here. That is, what does the Pythagoras theorem say? So Pythagoras theorem means the hypotenuse square, which is BC, which is the longest square, that is 170 square, will be equal to DC square which is 80 square, plus BD square, which is 150 square. So let's write down properly. So instead of BC, we have 170 square is equal to, oh, we don't know the value of DC yet. So this is DC. Instead of 80, I'm writing down DC square, which we are supposed to find. And instead of BD square, we can write 150 square, right? Then you will have to use the calculator to solve this. So this is 150 square. So plugging these values in the calculator, what do you get? 170 square comes out to be 28900 minus 150 square will be 22500, which is equal to DC square. This comes out to be 6400 is equal to DC square. So 80 becomes DC, right? So we got the value of DC as 80 centimeters. Similarly, if you look at the triangle AED, you have this as a right angle. So these are the two sides and this becomes hypotenuse. So DE becomes the hypotenuse. Again, using Pythagoras theorem, DE square will be equal to 120 square plus 50 square. You have to find the value of DE. So this becomes 144. 12 square is 144. So 2 zeros added because it's a 120 plus 5 square is 25 and 2 zeros added because it's a 50. So what do you get? Let's add these. So you get a 14400 plus 2500, which is a 16900. So 16900 is your DC square. The square root of 169 is 13. So square root of 16900 will be 130. And that's how we get a DC. You can also plug in the value of 16900 and find the square root in your calculator. Both ways are okay. So you get the value of DC as 130. So now we have to find the perimeter. So the perimeter will mean we will take AE plus AB plus BC plus DC plus DE. Right, which is equal to, you put the value of AE as 50, AB is 100, BC is 170, DC is, we have found it to be 80, and DE we have found to be 130. So the perimeter comes out to be, let's add these up. So we have 50 plus 100 plus 170 plus 80 and a 130. So we get a 530 meters, which is the perimeter of the given figure. Now the next point is you have to find or calculate the angle ABD, that is this angle. Now the problem is this is not a right angle triangle. So how do we find out the angle over here? What do we do? So for this question, we will use the cosine rule. Now let me quickly state what do we mean by the cosine rule, right? You need to know that before we move ahead by solving a question using that, right? So if you have a triangle like this, where you have, this is A, this is B, and this is C, then this becomes alpha. Let's say these are the angles, right? Beta and gamma. Let's say this is the side A, across beta it is B, across C, gamma it is C. Then how do we interpret or how do we write the cosine rule? What do we do? Suppose we have to find alpha. Suppose you have to find the side A. So what happens is A square is equal to, you will put B square, that is the, so this is what we are finding. This is what we have to find, the side we have to find, let's say. So A square will be equal to B square plus C square minus 2BC cos alpha. So this is the cosine rule in general. Now, let's go back to the question and see what has been asked. So it says to calculate the angle ABD. So over here, we have to calculate this angle. Now, applying cosine rule on this, what will happen? These are the two sides which are associated with the angle, right? So we will write over here 120 square 120 square is equal to 150 square plus 100 square minus 2 into 150 into 100 cos of this angle B or gamma. I have put it as gamma. Now 120 square is 14400 is equal to 22500 plus 10,000 minus 2 into 150 into 100 will be 300 is 250, 150 into 2, 300 into 100 again, 30000 cos gamma, right? This is what we get. Solving this further, let's use the calculator if there is any doubt about this. So this becomes 144. So first we will add up this 22500 plus 10,000 and you get a 32500 minus 30000 cos gamma is equal to 14400. Then you subtract. So this minus 14400 will give you 18100 is equal to 30000 cos gamma. So I'm removing the negative sign because when this goes on the other side, it becomes negative. So you can cancel out the negative signs. So our cos gamma becomes equal to 181 this divided by 30000 is our cos gamma, which is 0.60. So 0.60, this is 0, becomes our cos gamma. If you have to find the inverse, so gamma will be cos inverse of this, right? So you will find the inverse function of this. So cos inverse gives you 52.89 and that will be your answer. Moving on, calculate the angle CBD. So it will be the same logic. Now we have to find CBD, that is this angle. Use the same cosine rule for this as well. So this time what do we do? 80 square is equal to, so let's write that down for cosine rule. What we will do, 80 square is equal to the two sides which are there, 150 and 170. So 150 square plus 170 square minus 2 into 150 into 170 cos of that angle. Let's name it as beta. Okay, cos of beta. We are finding that beta itself. So this becomes 6400 is equal to 22500 plus 28900 minus, so this will be 2 into 150 times 170 and we get a 51,000 cos beta. Then add and subtract, what do we get? So 22500 plus 28900 is equal to 51,400. Subtract a 6,400 from it. We get a 45,000. Divide it with 51,000. That's your cos beta, right? So we divide this with 51,000. Again, I have gotten rid of the negatives because they vanish when you subtract on the other side. So we get 0.88 as cos beta. So beta will be cos inverse of this. So you take the trigonometry, you take the cos inverse of this, it becomes 28.07 or 28.1 roughly. That is the angle CBD. Now, the next part is to find the bearing of D from B. Now, what do we mean by the bearing? Very interesting, and you need to understand this. So the question says to find the bearing of, you have to find the bearing of D from B. So from B, what is the bearing of D? So remember, whenever we are finding bearing, this is the north direction which we have to consider. The bearing of any angle is always counted clockwise from the north direction, right? So if you have to find the bearing of D from B, means at B, you will have to start rotating this, right? So how does that happen? So remember, these two are parallel lines, okay? The red lines which I have made are parallel lines. That means this angle and this angle are equal. This is also beta. That part clear, right? Now what do? We take the bearing. So how do we rotate or how do we find the bearing?
So I'm going to use this over here. So we just rotate it like this, clockwise till we reach over here, right? This is the angle which I need to find out. Now, what is this reflex angle? This is called a reflex angle. What will that reflex angle be? It will be 360, which is the whole angle minus the angle beta. Clear? We have already found the angle beta. The angle beta value was 28.1. So what do? 360 minus 28.1, that will be our bearing angle. If you plug that into the calculator, it becomes 360 minus 28.1 and it comes out to be 331.9. So that is the bearing angle. Next part. So now it says to calculate the area of the field A, B, C, D, E. And you have to give the answer in hectares. So now let's talk about the area. So the area essentially consists of 1, 2, and 3 triangles. Yes, I know all of you must be thinking that how to find the area of this triangle, right? So we have a rule for that as well. We'll come to that. But let's first find out the areas of these 2 triangles. These are easy, right? What is the formula for area? Let's quickly note that formula down. So area of a triangle, area of any triangle is given as half times the base times the height. Let's look at the base and height of each of these triangles. If you look at the triangle ADE, this is the 90 degrees, right? So 120 is the height, 50 is the base. So half times, so we can write that down in fact, because this working you need to show, then only you will get the marks, right? So let's talk about the area. So how do we write? The first part which you write is the complete area is equal to area of triangle ADE. So let's write that down first. So area of triangle ADE plus, there are 3 triangles here, area of triangle BDC. So area of triangle BDC, and then you have the third one, the tricky one, which is ADB, right? So plus area of triangle ADB. Now area of triangle AD will be half times ADE will be 50 times 120, right? So half times 50 times 120 is your area of triangle ADE. Then we have area of triangle BDC, which is half times, now this, look at this, this is the right angle. So that means this is the height and this is the base. So 150 times 80. So this comes out to be half times 150 times 80. And then you have the area of triangle ADB. Now, how do we solve that? So we use something called the sine rule. Let me state the sine rule first. So what do? We take a triangle. Again, I'm using a different ink now just to explain the sine rule, how to find the area using the sine rule, right? So you have a triangle ABC, and let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C. So the area of the triangle ABC is given as A times B by 2 sine C. That's the formula. So you need to know the formula, which is the side A times the side B and times sine of this angle C, which will give you, divide that by 2, you get the formula for finding out the area, right? So let's use that. In the given triangle, we have already found this angle. Remember gamma? We named it gamma. So let me remove this so that there is more clarity on this. So this we have already found. This angle was gamma. What was the value of that angle? We have written it as 52.89. So we will use that. And the 2 sides adjoining this angle is 100 and 150. So let's put that. We have 100 times 150 times sine of 52.89. The whole thing is divided by 2. So I'll simplify a little bit over here itself so that we do not have to do a lot in the calculator. So 2 and 100 will become 50. So you have a 50 times 150 times sine 52.89. So first let's find the value of sine 52.89. So you write down 52.89 and find the sine value of it, which is 0.79, right? Multiply that with 150 and multiply that with 50. What do we get? We get a 5981, roughly 5981. So the value was 5981.08. So we'll take it as 0.1. We have rounded it off. Plus, this becomes what? So again, I can just cancel these. So it becomes a little simpler for me. And this becomes 60. So I know 5 into 6 is 30. So this will be 3000 plus 150 into 40, 15, 4 is 60. So again, 2 zeros over there, 0, 0 plus 5981. This becomes my total area. And let me add these. So I have this plus 6,000 plus 3,000. This becomes my area, 14981. 981.08 or 0.1. You can round it off as well. Then this is in meters square because in our question, everything was given in meters. Then the question says to find the area in hectares. 1 hectare is 10,000 meters square. So again, I will use the logic over here, how to convert this into hectares. So 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 meter square. How many hectares will be equal to 14981.08 meter square? So what do we do? How do we find this question mark or x? Let's say this is x, that is the unknown. We usually put unknown as x, isn't it? You can take any other value, but yeah, we prefer x always, right? So what do? You multiply, you cross multiply and equate. So this becomes 14981.08 times 1 is equal to 10,000. Now you have to find times x. Now you have to find the value of x. So you take 10,000, you divide both sides by 10,000. So this becomes 14981.08 by 10,000 is equal to x. So this comes out to be 1.49 hectares. Now, how much do you need to show? You can show the entire thing. Nobody will cut marks for that. Or you can say 1 hectare is equal to 10,000 meters square. Therefore, 1.49 hectares will be equal to 14981.08 meters square, and this becomes your answer. So you get 4 marks for this. So I will complete the video over here itself. Please watch the remaining parts, that is the upcoming parts for the remaining questions, right? In the next part, I will be covering question number 4, question number 5, and question number 6. So next 3 questions will be covered in part 2 of this video. Okay, keep watching. All the best.